Should we start with a roll call, Cindy, since everyone's around?
Certainly. Counselor Atzelis.
Did you say here? We didn't hear you. Yeah, then I don't think your AirPods are working.
I see him.
I see him too, but maybe you have your wife's AirPods. That happened to me yesterday.
Counselor Steinhilber.
Here.
Counselor Cullum.
Here.
And Counselor Atzelis is here. You have full quorum.
All right. Elizabeth, are you just going to go through each property?
Sure, I will kick us off. We have 3 applications actually for tax increment exemption relief under the Housing Development Incentive Program. And just because it's been a little bit since we've done this, I'll just remind the counselors that this is a program enabled through the state to encourage market rate rental units, and our housing development zone is downtown Hyannis Growth Incentive Zone. Those boundaries are concurrent, so all 3 of these projects are small scale, either infill development or redevelopment projects within that area, really looking to produce, what I would call naturally occurring attainable housing within the zone. So for the purposes of processing these applications, the Planning and Development Department retained Arden Russell Cadron. She is our former housing consultant, and she worked with us as the consultant on this project. So if you wouldn't mind, and if Arden's okay, I will defer review of the memorandum that we distributed to the committee to Arden. Thank you.
Thanks. Hi, Arden.
Hi everybody. Good. So I'll just go through them one by one. The first project is 171 Main Street, named Atlantic Apartments. The developer is Todd Elwell. He is converting a former office building, so it's substantial rehab, converting a former office building into 11 new market rate units, retaining 1 office space. The project is fully permitted. It is connected to municipal wastewater. The owner developer will continue to own and manage the properties. The rents are priced at moderately, I would call them moderate market rate rents. There are some new developments in town that have higher rents than these. The operating and the development pro forma are in line with industry standards. The total development cost for the project, including the acquisition, is $2.3 million, which comes out to $209,000 per unit. This developer is asking for an increment exemption of 100% for the first 5 years, 85% for the next 5 years, and 55% for the remaining 10 years. Maximum allowable term is 20 years. The assessor did all the hard math around that and determined that the tie will be valued over the lifetime at $237,869. We have a staff review committee that looks at these applications first to make sure they're complete and meet the terms of the program. And we did determine that the application is complete. The development does meet the objectives of Barnstable's Housing Development Incentive Plan. By increasing the residential stock, it increases the diversity of housing. The town of Barnstable is vast majority home ownership. And it does provide workforce housing opportunities in the area, which does support economic development. So maybe if we have questions about that project in particular, before we move on to the other 2 projects.
Yeah. Councilor Atzelis, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Barely. Try it again.
Let me switch out here.
No. You're just a whisper.
All right, can you hear me right now?
Yeah, that's better.
Nothing.
Yeah, that's good. That's better. Yep.
Sorry about that. So, do we know what the market rate? I'm sorry, what the rents are gonna be for these units? I know you said they're, they're market rate.
Yeah,
Uh,
maybe,
do you have any numbers around that?
maybe Todd, can you tell us exactly what the rents are?
I see him, but
He's not he's not answering. It's in the application. I'm sorry, I don't have the application pulled up because I have the Zoom pulled up.
oh, I think he's getting on.
Yeah, they're about I think it's 18 for a 1-bedroom.
Yes, so we have 18 for can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
So we have 1,800 for a studio, 22 for a 1-bedroom, and 2,500 for a 2-bedroom. This is the 100% AMI per Hacks, I guess, suggestion for rents for the town of Barnstable.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions before we go on to the next property? All right, go ahead, Arden.
Great. Okay, so the next one is 50 Yarmouth Road in Hyannis, Linnell Landing. The developer of this project is Jake Dewey, and he is using a construction contractor, Seashore Homes. So this project is a combination of new construction and retaining the existing building on site. So they're maximizing the use of the existing site. The existing building is a 3-unit rental housing development, and the proposal is to build additional 12 units in a combination of townhouse style, and then one larger building that's going to have 8 1-bedroom units in that multifamily building. This project can also be developed as of right using the new downtown village zoning. It is connected to municipal wastewater. The developer will continue to own and be responsible for management of this property. Again, the rents are moderately priced market rate rents. This one's a little more complicated because there are 12 new units. One of those units will need to be an inclusionary housing unit. So that will be priced at 65% of the area median income. And the developer did seek financial assistance from the Affordable Housing Trust. And so an additional unit will be deed restricted affordable to households at 80% of the area median income. So if a tax exemption is awarded on this, the base value will not include those 2 units. The total development cost for this project, including the acquisition of the property, is $3.8 million, coming in at about $284 per unit total development cost. The tax increment exemption request is 100% for the first 5 years, 85% for the next 5 years, and 55% for the remaining 10 years. The assessor estimates the total value of the tie over its lifetime to be $377,534. We did review the application, and it is complete and determined that this proposal also meets the requirements of our HDIP zone plan by increasing residential stock, 12 new units, increases the diversity of housing stock, and provides workforce housing opportunities supporting economic development in the area. So I will entertain any questions regarding 50 Yarmouth Road.
Anybody have any questions? Councilor Cullum?
Yes, what was the award given from the Housing Trust on this property?
It is,
believe
I'm
it
not
was
sure if it's
500,000.
final, but the request was $500,000, so $250,000 per unit.
Okay, thank you.
So this is Elizabeth. The trust has not yet made that award. They've had 2 hearings on it. That is the request pending before the trust. They have made a conditional, sort of a preliminary vote on some of the terms of the grant agreement. And we're currently working with the applicant to try to determine if there is a way, because of the essentially the high value per unit, to try to ensure that in the long run, the remaining market rate units will stay attainable over time, not necessarily formally deed restricted units, but to be able to essentially set a ceiling on some of those rents in the long term.
Yeah, the HDIP program does require that all leases are year-round leases.
Yeah.
So that is one of the benefits of tax increment exemption is they must be year-round housing.
Appreciate that information. Council Collins?
Yeah, so if the housing trust doesn't go through with the award, does the project move forward anyway?
That would be a question for the applicant.
Yeah.
Mr. Dewey?
Honestly, it probably will have to be modified. We'll probably have to scale it down smaller if the trust doesn't award the funds. Or we can hope for interest rates to go down. One or the
Yeah,
other.
it's a tough time to develop.
I mean,
It is.
yeah, unfortunately, this has dragged on longer than I had anticipated. I was really hoping to have shovels in the ground now, but right now the next trust meeting is until the middle of October, so we're still waiting for that to move along or not move along, one or the other.
Okay, thank you.
Council Atzos?
This might be just a formality, but it does say here the project has received a subsidy award from the Barnstable Affordable Housing Trust for 500,000. That's what we're discussing here.
Yes.
Yeah.
They haven't,
say it's
they haven't actually gotten it.
No,
It
we were
is. I'm sorry, I think.
optimistic. when we
Yeah, I
wrote
think
the
that was
memo.
presumptuous. They looked like they were lined up for a vote.
So I'm shooting, I'm shooting the messenger here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
no,
I want to make sure. 'Cause
apologies.
That's
That
okay. I
is-
just want to make sure I'm hearing things right.
That is
Um,
inaccurate. They have
okay, that's
not
fine.
voted on that award.
Thank you. And just to be consistent, I don't want to make Jake, I'm sorry, Todd feel like I was singling him out. Do we have the rents for the units? Just curious.
Yeah, so the proposed rents are $1,870 for the 1-bedrooms and $2,350 for the 2-bedroom townhouses.
Okay, thank you.
Was there some discussion on what the ceiling rents may be?
There was, and I think that's that's one of the particular points that is remaining to debate. I will say, these are the source of the trust's funding is Community Preservation Act funds. As noted earlier, the rent limits on 1 and 2 bedrooms at 100% of area median income is in the $2,300 to $2,600 range. So there was discussion anywhere between 90 and 120% of area median income. Again, not wanting to interfere with the objective of the HDIP program to make sure those rents remain market, but also to not interfere with the developer's pro forma and his ability to execute the project.
And then the AMIs adjust each year as well.
That's
They
correct.
do.
Yeah.
Okay.
They do.
Any other questions?
I just had
Council
one more.
Atzos?
So will these rents stay the same? I know it's going to take some time for Mr. Dewey to, build these units, have them ready. So however long it takes, are you anticipating how long, Jake, for this to be complete once you get started?
I mean, again, we're waiting for these trust funds to go one way or the other. If that moves forward, we're probably 60 days after them saying yes to start, and then probably 9 months of construction.
Okay.
Up to 11, I would say.
So would the rents be the same 9 months from now, or was there a chance that they would have, if there's any, would there be an increase?
Ideally, they would be the same. I mean, we have marginal increase if there was an increase. It'd just be a matter if the bank pushes back where interest rates are. If rates creep up in that time, we've lost our commitment at this point because it just took a long time on the funding. So it's just where rates are.
Okay.
Gotcha.
All
right, great. Arden, go ahead.
Sure. So the third project is also on Yarmouth Road. It's number 68 Yarmouth Road, Hyannis. The developer of this project is Mark Hansen, and the construction contractor is Branson Group, which is also owned by Mr. Hansen. This is a raise and replace of an existing property, an existing structure, and it will be replaced with 8 new market rate duplex style units. Each of those is going to have 3 bedrooms. So for a total of 24 bedrooms, which is somewhat unique. You've seen the prior 2 projects did not have any 3-bedroom units. This project has an approved regulatory agreement. It's been sort of in the works for a few years. So it has an approved regulatory agreement and is ready to begin construction. The current developer will also be the continued owner and responsible for management and maintenance of the property. It is also, of course, connected to municipal sewer. The rents proposed are moderately priced rents. This owner works closely with the housing authority, trying to house people with certificates. So he tries to keep those rents at a level that would make that possible. Yeah. And as I said, 3-bedroom units are in particularly short supply. The operating and development pro forma are in line with current industry standards. The total development cost of the property is $2,450,000 for a per unit development cost of $306,250. And the tax increment exemption request is 100% for the first 5 years, 85% for the next 5 years, and 55% for the remaining 10 years. And the assessor estimates this total value of the tie to be $251,304. The committee did review the application. It found it to be complete, and that the proposed development meets the terms of the plan by increasing residential stock, which is overwhelmingly homeownership, and providing workforce housing opportunities. All 3 properties are in a location that allows homeowners to be within walking distance of 2 of the major employers on the Cape, the hospital and the town. It provides easy access to multiple public transportation sources and a variety of downtown amenities. All 3 projects will provide visual improvements to existing properties that are, could be considered blighted. They're definitely aging properties, and will improve the quality of housing product for the tenants by allowing them to move into new construction, high energy efficiency properties. In total, the 3 projects will create 27 new market rate units in the downtown area. So any questions about 68 Yarmouth Road?
I'll ask my
Clearance
standard
list.
one.
Yes.
Mr.
Right.
Hanson, what are your rents gonna be?
We are 3,100 across the board. That was what we believed. Speaking with both housing authorities, it's a number that we believed was a sort of a between what the housing authorities can accommodate and what the banks will allow the numbers to be. These tie agreements, they help in procuring financing, because the banks, they take about anywhere between 20 and 30% of gross rents right off the top when calculating the viability of these projects. And that's a huge number. They say it's mainly if something were to happen, they would have to manage and they would have to potentially take care of those properties. But I mean, that can be $100,000 off the top. And so when they look at the expenses and they see, especially in the first 5 years, it helps stabilize. It also assists us in offsetting the carrying costs for these projects, extremely expensive right now. There could be, on a typical $2.5 million project, and I'm not speaking for anybody else, but could be $150,000 to $200,000 in carrying costs just to get these to the very first day of rental. And so we're really just trying to to stabilize these properties, and this is one of our only avenues that adequately gets us to that place. So I think the 3,100 is actually quite a bit below true market. The other one, we didn't have a lot of comparatives. Somewhere at 850. some were at Captain's Row, and I think Captain's Row started a bunch. They sold out at 3,600 a month. And I know the other ones we looked at were in the same range, 3,600 a month. So we're significantly below, but we're trying to work with the families and blended families that we have currently as tenancies. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Cullen?
Yes, I just wonder what the delay has been in this. I've been so excited about this project since we first approved the reg agreement. Every time I drive by it, I go, "God, TARP," like,
Yeah.
what's the
Yeah.
delay?
One of the delays, perfectly honest, we purchased a interim project that was going, but it took a fair amount of capital. And when we approached the bank for initial funding or initial checking of funding on this project, things were starting to go sideways as far as rates and the banks shrinking their book. And so where they would have accepted collateral that we owned, they wanted the money in hand. And so as the interest rates rose, we sat, and as everybody knows, we've been seeing interest rates rise for almost a year now. And it just, at the rates currently, it made where they were going, it made the project unviable. But we anticipate things changing in the near future, and we feel confident that we've found enough capital to move forward. That we're excited. We really didn't want it to go this long, but that's the truth behind it.
What other properties do you own and manage in town?
We have 3 that are almost direct abutters. We have one next door at 2731. We have another one across the street that is probably slated for future development in the same way at to 36. We own 35 Winter Street, which is an office building, multi-tenants in there. So we have several that are around.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right, thanks. Any other questions? Appreciate bringing some 3 bedrooms forward, because like you said, there's not a lot in town, but there's definitely a need, and we certainly understand the cost of construction to do the 3 bedrooms is tough, and interest rates aren't helping anybody.
No, and honestly, it's not the highest and best use for the property. Quite honestly, it could be more dense. We could accommodate more, but we committed to the housing authorities that we would try to work with them for the 3-bedroom units. We committed to the people that we currently serve that are maybe in a unit that's smaller than they would normally want to be in. And there has to be a blend between helping the community and, still being able to run a business.
Absolutely.
We're excited.
Thank you. Well, if there's not any other questions, and if there's no objections, possibly we could just take a vote as a package here, as a slate to refer these to the council. Okay with everybody? All right, well, I'll make a motion that we approve these 3 projects for referral to the town council.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Councilors. Oh, you have to do a roll call, Counselor, because we're on.
Oh,
Zoom.
because we're Zoom, that's right. Go ahead.
Councilors, Cullum,
Yes.
Atzelis,
Yes.
Steinhilber.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it, everyone. Good projects
it.
all around.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you for your help in Hyannis. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
No more blue tarps. No more blue tarps.
I know.
Arg.
No, thank you.
All right.
Great, thanks.
Thanks, Todd, Jake.
I'll see
Thank
us
you.
all again when it comes before the council.
Right. Do we,
I think Cindy needs a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, we need a motion
yeah,
to
I was
adjourn.
about to do that.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right,
Second.
all right. Roll call.
Councilors, Steinhilber,
Yes.
Atzelis,
Yes.
Cullum,
Yes.
you are adjourned at 8:23.